A breaking story this hour. An Israeli settler has been handed 3 life sentences for the murder of 3 members of one Palestinian family. Amiram Ben-Uliel threw a firebomb into the home of the Dawabsheh family in 2015, killing the couple and their infant son. Their elder son, who was 4 years old at the time, is the only survivor. Ben-Uliel received an additional 20 years for the injury of the surviving child. We have 2 correspondents on this story. Nida Ibrahim's in Douma, in the occupied West Bank, at the home where the attack happened back in 2015. But first to Harry Fawcett, who's outside the courtroom in Lud. So, Harry, does this definitely mean life behind bars?
It's 3 consecutive life sentences, plus, as you say, an extra 20 years. So, yes, it does seem that, barring some extraordinary decision to pardon or to give parole, which is all the more unlikely given that the court also ruled that this was an ideologically or racially motivated attack, it's almost certain that Ben-Uliel will serve out the rest of his life behind bars. That is exactly what the family had asked for, pretty much down to the letter. We've spoken to the lawyer of the family, and he says that there is also a large compensatory settlement as well, the maximum available under Israeli law of nearly $300,000 US. We spoke to the grandfather of the surviving young boy, Ahmad, the father of Riham, the mother who was killed in that attack. He said that, yes, this was the right decision, that it would be good in terms of public opinion and would get public support. But for him personally and for Ahmad, it doesn't bring back any of the 3 family members who were killed in that attack. And as you say, it's an attack that took place 5 years ago. It's taken an extremely long time to get to this point. There was argument about how many attackers may have been involved. A minor who was also arrested was given a plea bargain and ruled not to have taken part in the attack itself. Ben-Uliel, his lawyers said that he was tortured, or at least subjected to enhanced interrogation by the Israeli security services, and there was a separate trial about the admissibility of some of his confessions, some of which were ruled out of court as a result. And there's also the question of the wider issue of settler violence. The Israeli security services said that this was a landmark case in tackling so-called Jewish terror, but there has also been research done into the number of attacks that go unpunished, one concluding that only 8% of people who are suspected of involvement in these sorts of attacks against Palestinian civilians actually faced indictment. And one Palestinian Israeli member of the Israeli Knesset that I just spoke to said that that was part of the problem, that this was an exception, that this kind of verdict and this kind of sentence comes down.
Harry, thanks very much. Harry Fawcett's reporting live there from outside the courthouse in Lud. Let's take it to Douma and Al Jazeera's correspondent covering that end of this developing story, Nida Ibrahim. Nida, have we had a chance to gauge reaction from the family yet?
We went to the house where Ahmad lives now. He's the 10-year-old, the only survivor of the attack. He actually hasn't been to court today and refused to attend any of these sessions over the past few years. He received the news when he was with his grandmothers. Both of these women, each one of them has lost a child. Saad and Riham, both parents of Ahmad, who were killed while they were sleeping in this room alongside their toddler, the 18-month-old Ali. The family wants to keep this house as a museum, as kind of a reminder of settler attacks. And actually, one of the grandmothers has told us that let the settler rot in jail. These were her words. But they wanted us to know that nothing will ever compensate the family for their loss. According to UN figures, settler attacks have been on the rise for the past few years. Just to give you an idea, since the beginning of this year, we're talking about 180 or even more than 180 attacks by Israeli settlers against Palestinians. More than 50 of them have caused casualties. And for many Palestinians, the Dawabsheh trial is a rare issue, a rare sentence and conviction. And they don't believe that the Israeli courts usually provide justice for the rest of Palestinians.
Nida, thanks very much. Nida Ibrahim there, reporting live for the NewsHour.